Hey guys, Jeff here from Whitbird Botanical with another terrarium build. So in this one I'm going to be doing this massive jar that my friend James gave me. It's huge, it's my hand on it, so it's at least two of my hands up, and then there's the neck, which is, it kind of goes like that, sort of goes in like that and then up, and like this is the size of the cork. So it's quite a huge jar. It's got this interesting glass. It's not like super clear view. It's kind of a bit distorted, which is kind of cool. To start with, I'm just going to do a false bottom. I've just got my usual rock, and I've got some screen already cut, and I also have my bucket of horticultural charcoal next to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So one of the most challenging parts of this build is that it's extremely deep, and my tools I can't even with long-handled tweezers, I'm struggling to get down to that level. So what I'm thinking is, instead of doing my usual where I do the screen and then the charcoal layer, I'm going to do the charcoal layer straight on top of the false bottom, and then I'll use the mesh on top of that to keep the substrate from getting down there. Alright, so after trying to get something in there to sort of keep the substrate out, I realised that it's just too deep and it's too fiddly, so I'm going to do a thin layer of thin layer of propagation sand over the top of that. I'm hoping that that'll help keep the main substrate out, because it'll form a bit of a barrier. So the idea behind the sand here is just to act the same way that this would normally act. Hopefully it'll keep the rest of the main substrate out by just having some finer particles to block the gaps before the main substrate. So now what I'm going to do is add in a little bit of hardscape. My hope is that I can do some sort of tiered stuff, and then I'll see what plants I can go with. I've got probably more plants than I can actually put in, but we'll see what I can do. So I'm just going to throw a few bits in and then try and move them around a bit and see how I like it. Okay, so I've put a layer of lava stones in here. I moved them around, got them pretty much where they fell is where they stayed. I just sort of tried to shift a few. So now I'm going to do some substrate. So the first layer of substrate is going to go to pretty much the top of these stones. Then I might chuck a couple more bits of stone in, and I've got some like bits of stick and stuff, branches to put in. So like I said, I want to try and do some tiered stuff. So I think this very front little cove here, I want to stay at that one level, and then I'll see if I can do another layer of rocks and sticks and then build some substrate up behind that, and maybe then try and do another little tier up the back corner here. So I'm hoping to have 3 layers here. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that. Alright, so this is what I ended up with. It's not exactly what I was going for, but I do have the at least two tiers, and is sort of slightly higher in this corner as opposed to this corner. But it was very difficult to get the substrate where I wanted it to go. I didn't really have any means of directing the substrate. So I was going to put some Coleus Fashion Parade in, and I have this bird's nest fern, but they're just going to be way too large. So what I'm going to do is mostly go mosses. I've got this Commelina, which I think will look good coming out the back corner there. And I have this Lobelia purpurescens, which will look good in there, I think. This Oplismenus. But they're all kind of similar, so I will put them all in there. But I'm also going to try and get this pyrosia in, and I'll put some Fittonias in and then some mosses. So I'm going to start with this Commelina up the back, and then I'll go from there. So I got a little bit of Fittonia in down the front here and a bit up the back, and then I got the white form up this corner as well, the rear corner over here. I then got the Commelina sort of cascading from the back over the front, and I have some Oplismenus in here as well, Lobelia, purpurescens in the front here. It's been a bit knocked over, I need to pick it back up. I got my pyrosia in where I wanted it. It's probably a bit hard to see, but it is in there. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks so far. So they're all in there now. I'm just going to put some moss in now. So first things first, I'll add in some springtails. So to do that, all I've done is add a little bit of water to my colony, because they float, and I'll just tip that in, and whatever goes in, goes in. So there's definitely some in there, which is good. Now I'm just going to water it, and I've just got some demineralized water, which is the same stuff that I poured into my springtails, and that's just because you don't really want to use just straight tap water if you can. It's not necessarily going to be the downfall of your terrarium, but it's just an extra precaution to make sure there's nothing weird that's going to happen in. And that should be pretty good. I can monitor the water level as they go. My substrate was already wet going in, because I store it wet. When I mix it up, I wet it a bit. So that should be enough to hopefully keep this nice and moist. The sand was already wet. The rocks were wet from when I rinsed them, and the substrate went in moist as well. So that should be enough water. If not, I can always add some later. So now the next step is I'm just going to try and clean a bit of the debris off the glass, which is going to be difficult, but I'm going to give it a go. So for this next step, I've just got this like domestic cloth stuff that you get just from the supermarket if you're doing the dishes. And I've just ripped a chunk off, folded it up, and I've got it on my curved tweezers. And I'm just going to go in as best I can and just try and clear up some of the substrate that's gotten onto the glass. Pull the Priority out. I'll put that back in. Sorry, Lobelia. It's had a name change. I learnt it as Priority, so I keep calling it that. That should be good enough. And I'll just pop this Lobelia back in now. Alright, and that'll do it. So there's not really much debris anywhere else on the glass, so I don't really worry about that. But I got off the main viewing window up the front here. So yeah, really happy with that. And as always, thanks all for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye for now.